is a Schedule III substance, designated that is currently accepted medical use in the United States, and that its abuse may only moderate or have low psychological dependence or physiological dependence levels. The case for rescheduling marijuana has been strengthened by several recent developments. 14 states now recognize medical marijuana's use. The Department of Justice has also recognized marijuana is used medically under state laws and directed the DEA and U.S. attorneys not to prosecute individuals for such use in those states. In addition, the reclassification of marijuana under the CSA is now supported by the American Medical Association. The Iowa Pharmacy Board, using the same criteria as the CSA, has recommended the rescheduling of marijuana under state law. Furthermore, recent studies by the California Center for Medicinal Cannabis Research have documented marijuana's efficacy in treating a variety of ailments. Most recently, on April 16th and 17th, Patients Out of Time and the University of California San Francisco School of Medicine will hold the 6th National Clinical Conference on Cannabis Therapeutics at the Crown Plaza and Hotel in Warwick, Rhode Island. This accredited educational event features cannabinoid researchers from Israel, Brazil, Canada, and the U.S.
And science finally proves the efficacy of medical cannabis. The Center for Medicinal Cannabis Research is currently conducting scientific studies to determine the efficacy of marijuana in treating various ailments. Until that research is conducted, however, most of what the public hears from marijuana activists is little more than a compilation of anecdotes, according to John Walters, former director of the White House Office of National Drug Control Policy. Mr. Walters doesn't have to wait any longer, as the research is concluded. Guess what? The compilation of anecdotes turns out to have been correct, very, very correct. The report to the legislature by the Center for Medicinal Cannabis Research is nothing less than a ringing endorsement of the medical efficiency and safety of cannabis. The Center for Medicinal Cannabis Research at the University of California was created in 2000 by the California State Legislature to conduct clinical and preclinical studies of cannabinoids, including smoked marijuana, to provide evidence one way or the other to answer the question, does marijuana have therapeutic value? To provide that evidence, the CMCR conducted peer-reviewed, evidentiary-based, gold standard, randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled controls into pain-relieving and anti-spasticity potential of cannabis. What is so outlandish is that these studies were the first clinical trials of the medicinal efficacy of smoked cannabis in the United States in over 20 years, as our government has systematically and intentionally thwarted any research that might show any benefit for the results of cannabis. What incredible madness drives a country to suppress scientific research that can demonstrate the amazing therapeutic property of a common everyday plant? In the case of the United States, it was the pure, unadulterated madness caused by the hatred of black and brown races that drove our country into the arms of reefer madness. Whatever doubt any rational human being might have about the medicinal efficacy of cannabis has been settled once and for all. These results are no surprise to patients who have first-hand experience of how effective cannabis is in treating pain. But these studies also provide answers to questions that patients have long been asking. In the study of the analgesic efficacy of smoked cannabis, it was shown that there is an optimal dose for smoked cannabis in relation to pain relief. Although I would not imagine the study had little trouble finding volunteers to smoke cannabis, it wasn't all fun and games as the study injected capsaicin, the hot pepper in chili peppers, under the volunteer's skin. The researchers then observed how variations in the percentage weight by volume of the THC relieved pain. The study found that the low dose, 2%, was ineffective in relieving pain. A medium dose of 4% significantly reduced pain, and a high dose of 8% actually increased the pain sensation. With cannabis, pain relief occurs to be dose-specific. This could explain why certain strains of marijuana appear more effective in treating pain, as they have the correct percent by weight of the THC for effective pain relief. What the study did not determine is how many doses and the amount of patient needs to consume to obtain pain relief. While the percent weight by THC can be standardized, what amounts to consumed to achieve therapeutic relief for one person may not be enough for someone else, or way too much for another. That kind of subjective quantification is not the way medicine is normally dispensed. But for cannabis, that's the way it works. And it works very well, thank you.
Founded in 1970, NORML is the nation's oldest and largest grassroots organization advocating on behalf of marijuana law reform. The NORML Foundation was founded in 1997 to support public education, research, stakeholder organizations, and impact litigation. In 2009, NORML Foundation launched its first ever nationwide television ad campaign calling for the regulation of marijuana by adults.
And looking at the other side of the coin, Sacramento Consultants leads campaign against pot legalization. The political campaign team that defeated a 2008 initiative that emphasized treatment over jail for nonviolent drug offenders is organizing anew to take on the November initiative to legalize marijuana for California adults over 21. 2 years ago, Sacramento political consultant Wayne Johnson rallied a coalition led by law enforcement associations in a successful campaign that defeated Proposition 5. The campaign branded the measure as the Drug Dealer's Bill of Rights. Now Johnson is heading the newly formed Public Safety First campaign. It is backed by the California Police Chiefs Association and other law enforcement groups. Mothers Against Drunk Driving and the Transportation Trade Group and the California Bus Association. Public Safety First doesn't have a catchphrase yet, but Johnson said the No campaign will argue that legalizing marijuana will harm California employers, endanger drivers, and lead to rampant pot distribution, with the Golden State shipping drugs to 49 other states. Johnson charged that legalization proponents falsely assert the measure would be tax generator for California's beleaguered state budget. Johnson said the initiative leaves taxation decisions up to local governments, the same people that issue permits for pot shops. Dan Newman, spokesman for the legislation campaign, Control and Tax Cannabis, said the measure will reduce crime in California and produce much-needed revenue. He assailed opponents as backing a street dealers and cartels' Bill of Rights by opposing the initiative.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the NORML News. I'm Candace Hawes, Orange County NORML President.
And I'm David James, and please visit our website at orangecountynormal.org. That's not OC Normal, that's Orange County Normal out fully, where you can see all the news we have here and even more events, a lot going on there.